What's up, everyone? It's Jacob.
And Hannah.
Back here with another episode of Commerce Connects. Today, we have Kenny Luu. He is a master of marketing for the dentist and orthodontic space. Mm-hmm. Kenny, how did you get into that space specifically?
Yeah, so I started in college when I was 19 in my apartment, and I was on TikTok, and I saw a lot of people talking about reselling something called Go High Level, which you're familiar with, and it's a platform where you can white label a software and sell it to a lot of different small businesses. So what I did was I looked into it. I spent the whole night building out my white label platform. I think there was like a 14-day free trial, so I was like, might as well try it out and see what I can do and sell it to people, because I started off just wanting to make money like some way, and I was like, if I just grind at it and try to sell it to as many people as possible, it's a numbers game, right? So someone had to buy it. So I built that, made a website, whatever, and then I started doing a lot of cold calling, right? So that built a lot of character, shows you how to handle rejection. So I did a lot of cold calling. I printed out brochures of the services that Go High Level could provide, and I would walk around to local businesses and pitch it to them, like just going in their door. It was a scary experience, something out of my comfort zone. And I got one client out of it for $97 a month. My first client, I was like, oh yeah, I'm the shit. I was like, oh, this is my big moment. And fast forward, we can go back to it, but that wasn't sustainable, like a lot of these gurus on TikTok were saying. So I had to pivot, and I was like, how about I try to sell, Go High Level with marketing services, but I was still aiming at a very low ticket clientele, like house cleaners and carpet cleaners or whatever, and they just weren't able to sustain, the services they wanted to, but they didn't have the income to sustain it. So fast forward to August, I walked into a local dentistry office, Maple Park Dentistry on 119th and Maple, and I just walked in one day and I was like, hey, your website and social media is kind of trash. I was wondering if you would want me to do your marketing for you. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll let you talk to the doctor. So I pitched Dr. Ganta all of my services, and he was on board, and that was my first entry into the dental world. I was like, this is a great industry to be in. There's a lot of high ticket services that you can sell and help these dentists and orthodontists sell. They're easygoing people. They're willing to work with you and build long-term relationships. So that's how I ended up getting into the dental and orthodontic field, was just one by one, just building up my clientele, and they all kind of know each other, so it's easy once you get in, but it's very hard to get started.
Yeah, and it is like, so you didn't even directly target, like it would just happen that you ended up in the dental space.
Yep.
Man, that is wild.
A lot of people talk about like trying to niche down. I know you and I have talked about that as well, and it's something that I thought about, but I was like, let me just work with all sorts of different niches so I understand what each niche is like. And then, I was like, whatever comes to me naturally will just come to me. Everything happens for a reason. I believe in that. So dental just happened to click with me, and that's where I saw the the opportunity to go hard in the dental field.
Yeah. That's cool. Is that a field you want to stay in long term? Like, do you want to be in that specific niche?
Yeah, I think I've been in it so long, and I built so many relationships with dentists and orthos around the U.S. that it's where I want to be. I understand the field. I understand the marketing, how to market, how to get patients to show up for them. So I believe that's something that I would want to continue doing for as long as I can.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's like, to me, like when we initially started talking about doing everything, like the whole ortho space and everything like that, like at first I was like, okay, like social media marketing for this, like I don't, like to me it's like two separate demographics almost. It's like, I wouldn't think somebody that's looking to get dentures or implants or stuff like that would be on socials like that. But then as we're doing like even the testimonials, stuff like that, I'm realizing like, oh, it's like a whole gamut of people. It's not just like your 65 plus that are coming in. It's, I mean, we had someone that was in there with early 30s. Yeah.
And if you're marketing for orthos, there's kids as young as 8 or 9.
Oh, because of braces
getting
and stuff.
braces.
Yeah.
And those are $5,000 cases that you're helping these orthodontists, acquire. So that's where the high ticket part comes in. Is when you're working with low ticket, you're getting them like $100 to $200 cleaning jobs versus $5,000 ortho jobs. It makes, it's a lot easier for you to do good in your field and deliver the results that the clients want.
Yeah. Yeah, because like you said, versus that, it's like, say you just get a one-off sale. I mean, they're still looking really nice on it versus, like, I guess I kind of like tie it back to when I did the speech at KSBDC. And people were like, oh, well, how much should my marketing budget be? And I'm like, are you selling cookies or are you selling weddings? Like, there's a wide gamut to where it's like, and they ask like what the best like cost per lead is. And I'm like, it depends. Like, I can't tell you without like sitting down and figuring out like who your target client is.
Yeah, and if you're trying to sell a $5,000 service, of course the cost per lead is going to be more expensive than a house cleaning.
Exactly. And so it's like you can tell someone like, for instance, to say you get $25 leads for what you're doing.
Right.
That's not terrible compared to, like I said, if you're trying to sell cookies and you're getting $25 leads for cookies, you're
might as well eat it yourself.
So, yeah, no, that's really cool to like just hear all the different lanes and niches that people are being very successful in. Kind of, you don't have to say like who it's for or anything like that, but what's some of like your bigger like achievements that you've made so far?
You mean in terms of for clients or personal?
Like sales, clothing, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would need to look at the specific like dashboard and everything. I don't have numbers off the top of my head, but I take pride in the quality that we provide to our clients. Our churn rate is 0. Every client that I've taken on has been with me for almost a year now since I've started, and I work with single practice dental offices as well as some in South Florida that have 5 20-chair mega practices, Tampa with 13 orthodontic locations. So I do everything from smaller family, homegrown practices to practices on a large scale that still deliver that same quality, but of course, they have that bigger bandwidth to take on more clients, and they have a bigger vision to grow, and that's kind of who I want to work with.
So what's like your process when you take on like a new, and let's say one of the bigger clients, like what do you provide for them when, they're like, okay, we want you to do X, Y, and Z?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same for, a small client versus big client. Just for a big client, you're doing it on a bigger scale. So, I mean, I don't mind saying this because you can look it up online and you'll see it anywhere, what digital marketing services are. It's pretty simple. There's website design and development. You have video and photo production. You have SEO, which is search engine optimization. You have social media marketing. You have Google ads, Facebook ads, and Instagram ads. So I pride myself a lot on being a full service agency that provides all of this under one roof. So anything that the client needs, they can come to me and get all the services. A lot of them have come to me and they're like, oh, can you help me with this? Because my company's not doing, X, Y, Z. They're only doing one specific service. And I think that's, puts you at such a disadvantage because if you're only offering one service, right, it's so easy for someone else to steal your client.
Yeah.
If you're not offering the full, variety of services, they see that, another company's doing good, they might just take them on for all their services at that point. So you don't want someone to be able to come in and compete with you. You want to be able to offer everything under one roof and provide all the needs that the client would, want for their marketing perspective.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and even like one thing that's been cool too to see is like, yes, you can offer like this whole wide gamut of stuff, but it's not like you're cheaping in one way or another. Like, because you see a lot of people that have companies where it's like jack of all trades, masters of none. But like when you go out, like even when you're in like South Tampa, you're sending me guys that you're like, hey, what do you think about this equipment? And it's like you could, I mean, like we've talked about it. Like there's people in the similar position of you that they don't care who they hire. Like the company that hired me, they're like, you can shoot this on your phone if you wanted to. And I was just like, hold on. Like, why are you trying to contract out? And so I think that's like one thing that is really cool that you do is like you reference and you research like who you hire before you hire them.
Yeah, quality is number one, in everything that I do. So when I started off with my client that was, $97 a month, I was doing everything for them. I was doing their social media. I was going in every single day with my dad's Canon camera. This was in Lawrence. It was a Mexican restaurant. They were paying me $97 a month, and I was going in there every day and taking photos for them, taking action shots for them, just because I was like, well, I don't know. I thought it was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
But I was like, if I just do good for them, I can use this to show other clients. I think so many people, when they get started, they get so fixated on money that they forget the quality and that you need to build relationships in business. It's all about relationships. People do business with people that they like.
Yeah.
You know, so if you might take a hit in the beginning when you're new, but it's worth it to bring on these clients and to help the people that were there for you, you know, in the beginning.
Yeah, no, that's super important. Like you said, I feel like with really any type of relationship, whether it's business, entrepreneur, like people work with people they like.
Exactly.
So, you know, being that person and taking that time to learn your client is super important, especially in the early stages of your business and career.
Yep, because you can use it as, you know, more ammunition for other clients and, you know, showcasing it to them while you're pitching for them or whatever. And I think it's, you know, it's good karma for you.
Oh, 100%.
And at that time, I didn't see it because I was like doing so much for all my clients. And I remember there was a client here in Wichita that had a cleaning company, and I cold called her, and she had me on the phone for like 2 hours, you know. And she was like, "Oh, like the best I could do is like $50 a month."
Oh, man.
And I was like, "Oh, that's fine." I was like, "I'll do it." I came out and I took photos for her and blah blah. It never even went through. She never even paid me the $50.
Oh, no.
But like that's how desperate I was to get to my goal. I was like, oh, you know, by the time I graduate, I want to make $10,000 a month. And I was like, you know, if I can get enough $50 months, that'll add up to 10,000.
Yeah.
It might take a while. You know, it might be like hundreds of clients, but I don't know. I had a delusional like self-belief in myself. I was just thinking that one way or another it was going to work out. You know, even if it was $97 a month.
Yeah.
You know, I would have needed like hundreds of clients to get to my goal.
Yeah,
I was
but-
like, I'm gonna do it.
200 clients just
I
to,
feel like that delusional self-belief, though, is what projects the people to be great. Like, you believe in yourself so much that there's no other opportunity but for stuff to work out, you know?
Exactly. It's like, you know you're going to get it done one way or another. I remember I was driving to that Mexican restaurant. I saw them on Facebook on like Sunday night. And I was like, damn, these photos suck. I was like, and they didn't have like a social media presence. Their menu was bad. They didn't have a website. And I was looking for people that didn't have websites because it's like an easy way in to offer them a website and you can offer them other services. So I went in and like on the drive there, I was like hyping myself up. Never sold in my life. I never even talked to anyone professionally. You know, I was like, oh, I'm the shit. I was like, I'm gonna close this deal. And I was like, oh, you're the best. And I was like, what? Thinking back, I was like, why did I even say that? I had no experience whatsoever. But it worked. You know, you have to kind of fake it till you make it. And I was going in there. I was like, oh yeah, I do this for all my clients. You know, like they're all really happy. And my boy Javier, he was like, oh yeah, Kenny, yeah, that's fine. We'll work together. And me and his family are still close to this day. You know, they always have me over when I was in Lawrence, like for food and Mexican food and stuff. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
that was my first client. He's an OG.
that's the way to be. Like, you see, I think we talked about it too, like the 15-year-old kids right now that they're blowing up on YouTube where they're sitting there just cold calling.
Yeah.
And they're trying to sell all these other services. And like, I'll read the comments and of course you get those other people like, oh, you're 15 years old. You don't know what you're doing. But I'm like, but at least they're doing this.
They're doing something.
Like they're learning, they're getting their reps in early.
Exactly.
Let that kid turn 18. He's going to be a demon.
Yeah.
Oh,
like-
most definitely.
You just need the experience.
Yeah.
And for that generation to like have that hustle, like that few, you know, that because a lot of the time the generation now it's like the instant gratification. Like at least those kids are like putting in the work, the hustle, the grind, and because cold calling is scary.
It is.
You know, especially
ever
when you
done
haven't. Yeah, when you haven't done it, you're like, oh my gosh. So
that or like just walking into someone's business.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the big thing when I first got into it was like just going up to car dealerships. Like you just walk up on a car dealership and be like, all right, let me shoot photos of your cars and stuff like that. That was like the easy in for people within like the marketing side for me. And so I tried it a couple times. And like I worked at Eddie Chevrolet before, and so I knew they had their own marketing team and everything.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, I'm weary of like the Don Hattons, like the big names. Let's go try mom and pops. I show up to all these mom and pop slots. I'm like trying to sell, and then I'm realizing like these cars have been sitting on the lot for like 4 or 5 months. Like they don't have the money to pay me.
Yeah.
Like they're barely keeping their doors. And so yeah, that was like the big one where I was like, okay, like let's take a step back. Let's look at the like higher ticket stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, then so I guess if people follow you on Instagram, they might have seen something really cool that you did lately.
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I bought my grandparents, their dream car.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, it's a brand new 2024 Miata in red.
Okay.
And that was a goal that I set for myself even before I started the business. So I started the business in April of 23, and I had this vision around like, February, March. So it was like a few months before. And I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I saw my grandpa was getting really old, it was hard for him to walk, and I was thinking about how much they've done for us because they've never had a brand new car, and I was like, I just need to get this done. So a little bit backstory on them. My grandpa was in the South Vietnam Army in the war, and after the war ended, he got sent to pretty much a concentration camp for 7 years, right? And in those 7 years, he was given like 1 potato a day to eat.
Wow.
And like they were working in the fields, and people were dying around him. So for him to still be here is a blessing. And my grandma had 6 kids, and she was holding it down at home, right? And they were like, think of poverty here and multiply that by like 100. They didn't have clothes. They were living like in like a shack. They were just hustling, selling whatever they could, like vegetables, fireworks when it was like New Year's or whatever, just to make some money. And my mom always tells me these stories, and she was just eating like a bowl of rice a day with some soy sauce. So they had nothing. And my mom, she has like a hustle mentality, and it's really helped me a lot with that too. Is she was always out there helping my grandma make money one way or another, hustling and selling. So I was like, they came over to the U.S. Like 8 years later, and came to Wichita, lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. It was my grandma, grandpa, my mom, and then 2 of my uncles. So all 5 of them, they each had $100 each, so $500 total. And they, sent here, and they're like, oh, good luck. So they were all working like 2 jobs every day. They had 1 car, so my grandpa would drive around, drop everyone off in the morning at their job, pick them up, and they would just sleep like on the ground. And my grandparents probably got the bedroom. So just seeing all this hard work since I was born, it just really drove me to do this for them. And I was like, if they can go through all of that and work multiple jobs and build the American dream, there's no reason why I can't do something like this and then repay them back for it. So I was like, if I can make this amount of money by next year, which was a few months ago, I'm gonna buy them a car. And luckily enough, I stuck with it, and I was able to make a good amount of money, and I stayed true to my word, and I bought him that car brand new. And just surprising him and seeing his reaction is priceless. And really happy I got to do that, just before he gets too old to even enjoy it. So now he's still able to drive it occasionally. And I don't even care if he doesn't drive it. I just wanted to get it for him,
Yeah, no, it's cool, like, just hitting that mark and just being able to say that you did that. I mean, within, like, your first year of business, being able to be like, all right, cool, like, let's just do this straight off the rip.
Exactly.
Like, everyone, and, like, I guess most people, I should say, are like, oh, yeah, I want to buy my mom a house. I want to do this. I want to do that. And it's just really cool seeing, like, right off rip, you're just like,
yeah,
cool.
because people do wait. Like, I mean, I'm saying people, like, they get to come up and they're like still gonna wait. Like, I'm gonna do this. That's awesome.
People like, wait. I was like, nah. I was like, they're getting too old. I need to do it now.
Yeah, do it now before. Yeah.
I was like, I don't care how much it is. Like, I got to do it now. And like last year, I remember I was like talking to my grandpa about it. I saw the car, and I was like, I was gonna get him a Supra. But he was like, oh, I really like these Miatas. And I was like, I didn't really like Miatas. I still don't really like them. It's like an old man's car.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, oh, this color looks nice. He's, oh, yeah, no, I like the red one. I was like, oh, okay. So I just kept it in the back of my mind for a year. I was just looking at it, going on Reddit, seeing when it would drop. And I think it dropped in February, and I bought it in April.
That's awesome.
So.
Man, that's wild. Like, just, like, I don't know. It's really inspiring. Really cool to see stuff like that.
Thanks, Jacob.
So for you, I guess, what's your ideal client?
My ideal client, honestly, someone that's willing to invest in themselves and build a long-term relationship with me and my company. It's all about relationships, and everyone that I work with, I'm their main point of contact at this moment. So I'm really close with all of them. We're like all friends and bros, and we joke around a lot. So all my clients are like that. So that's my target demographic, is someone that is willing to grow and, you know, invest into themselves, and then have someone like me help them along the way. Because a lot of these doctors, they come to me and they're like, you know, oh, we got scammed so bad by XYZ company. We were, you know, we're reluctant to sign on with you because all these marketing companies promise the world and they never deliver. And I was like, yeah, I'm not promising you anything. You know, I was like, I'm going to get you good results. But these companies be like, oh, you'll get X, like 20 implant cases in the next 40 days or else you don't pay.
Yeah.
And it's never that simple. There's so many factors that go into it, you know, ad spend, budget, and, you know, demographics and population. There's so much that goes into it. And people, these companies, it's almost like a scam. You know, they just throw that out there to get these clients to come in, overpromise them the world, and then take their money and run. So I go the different approach of trying to build long-term relationships with these clients and helping them along the way. If they have any issues, they just contact me directly and we work through them together. So that would be my ideal client.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What's your thoughts on for someone like just starting out doing like pro bono work?
Like freelance?
Yeah, or like just doing work for free.
To get their foot in the door,
to
kind
get
of
your
thing.
foot in the door.
I think it's great. That's what I was doing. I think it's, you know, the only way to grow, honestly, is to do that. I think if you're too focused on the money, it's never going to come to you.
Yeah.
You have to focus on the quality of the work, what kind of work you're doing, and what kind of relationships you're building, because it's not about what you know, it's all about who you know.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Right. So if you can get in with the right people and do good work for them, it's going to pay you dividends in return.
Yeah, that's what I always try to explain to people is like, especially in the camera world, it's always like people try to do too much on having the craziest camera setup or like there's just a wide gamut of things. Like when they go to film school, they're like, oh, it has to be X, Y, and Z settings.
Yeah.
Dude, just do good work. Like it's
And learn as you go.
yeah, it's one of those things where like I'm very unconventional when I come to shoot.
Yep.
It's not the normal, oh, I'm gonna bring all these different lightings. Like if we can make natural light work, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between being like great and then also just being like great and slow.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like you have to be quick with jobs like this. I mean, we've seen it within like the dentist space. It's like we don't have a lot of spaces set up in.
Yep.
Like why would I try to bring lights in there?
Gotta
Big
compromise.
tripods. Like yeah, no, it's one of those things where you just have to like almost break the rules or bend the rules.
Is there good lighting in the, you know, because they gotta have that light to
I
be
mean,
in on the. Is there good
Maybe
lighting?
for the doctor.
No, for the doctor, not for
yeah,
you.
it depends. It depends what we're shooting that day. I remember the first time I was shooting with Kenny, and I was like, "What am I shooting for? Like, are we shooting for social media? Or are we not?"
Right.
And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Like, let's figure out what we're doing as we're going." And so
That's all I'm about.
I'm exposing for the doctor's face, in which luckily the lights are so bright that the mouth is just blown out in white. So I'm not paying attention to what's blown out. I'm focusing to make sure the doctor's face is exposed properly. And then Kenny was like, "You should."
Get the
Like,
teeth.
yeah, you should show the mouth.
I think the doctor likes seeing that.
Yeah. And so I exposed for the mouth, and that's when I realized what we were doing.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't until that moment where I was like, oh, they already pulled her teeth. Like, I'm looking at a mouth without teeth in it and holes in the head. And I was
Getting in there.
yeah, because at first I was like, I thought it
know
was,
why, though.
I heard like dental or whatever, like the way we talked about. I thought it was just like cleaning. I was like,
Oh, so you
God.
were shooting the dentist, and then
Yeah, I wasn't paying
whoever
attention to
was
what they were
holding
doing.
and stuff, and then you're down. You're like, oh.
yeah, I was just like, oh, that is okay. Like, cool,
Guys,
we're
Jacob
locked
draws
in.
the line at pulling teeth. You heard it here first.
It was just one of those things where I was like, great, all right, let's keep it. And then once that first surgery was
You're
done,
good now.
Yeah, I was like, all right, we're cool.
He's used to it.
Yeah, I know. I remember I was the last one I was just at for
Yeah.
you. I was talking to Shelby about it, and she was like, "Is it like?" Are you used to it at this point? I was like, yeah, now. And she was like, she told me, she was like, I remember the first time Kenny came in and watched a procedure, he had to walk out. And I just started laughing because I was like, I understand why.
I don't like seeing sticks going to mouth crevices.
It was,
It's like digging in that hole.
dude, it's definitely, not for the weak stomached, for
So
sure.
what do you do? So what do you do with that content? Like, is it stuff like? do you put it on their social media, or is it something specifically ad runs or website?
Yeah, great question. It's all of the above. So like what we did for Jacob, with Jacob, right? That was like the first shoot was a testimonial shoot. So they wanted new testimonials on their website.
Okay.
So he was getting B-roll footage, and then he was getting like interviews with
Okay.
the patients and their experience. And a lot of them get emotional because of
Yeah.
how much it's impacted them positively, and they remember what it was like before the surgery. So there's stuff like that where we put it on the website, and there's videos that we shoot, specifically for ads to bring in new patients for those clients. And then there's reels that we can shoot, like shorts that we did for Dr. Trin, and like welcome video they can put on social media.
Yeah.
So it's honestly whatever they want, we can do for them.
So do you make and create the content and essentially give it to them if it's not like for the ads? Because I'm just assuming you run the ads for them then.
Yeah, I mean, we edit it. If none of them have ever asked for raw footage.
Yeah.
'Cause usually it's shot in like a log and it's like grayed out. Right. So none of them have asked for raw footage, but I mean, I could provide it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so that's one thing that Shelby and them were mentioning at the last one was like they just wanted me there to just have B-roll on hand.
Yeah.
I showed up and I was like, all right, what's the goal for today? And they're like, just
walk around.
just get footage.
Just get stuff.
I was like,
Get
oh,
stuff.
so we're not shooting for a specific ad or anything. And that's one thing like is I've been noticing about a handful of my clients recently, like the school that I've been working with.
Yeah.
They are very much just like, hey, I want to just have footage on hand to where if we have promotional stuff in the future, we can just quickly
Roll
throw
it
stuff
out.
together.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So, yeah, the team that videos it, usually they'll handle that, and then like you're just keeping it for
Yeah.
future work that we're gonna do for them.
Yeah, just sitting on a hard drive.
Yeah. I love it.
Man, like it's just still just crazy. Like, cause what, like you just said, you're 21
Just turned 21, July 9th
and
last month.
you're just sitting here building up this insane empire. You were just in Miami. What? Like,
It was Miami. It was in Tampa with some of my clients.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Do you I don't know if you want to answer this. Do you have like, I know you have a team as in like, you have people, record all that. Do you have a full team or is it you?
Yeah, no, I have, 2 or 3 in-house teams
Okay.
of developers and SEO experts
Gotcha.
that do all the website and coding, because I don't know how to do that.
That's what I was going to ask
Yeah.
if like you're
No,
like
I'm a business owner.
Okay.
When I first started, I was doing everything.
Okay, yeah.
I learned how to do SEO, so I learned how to do Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, social media, and I learned, some like just beginner stuff about videography. But at a certain point, I obviously had to outsource
Yeah.
to employees and whatever. But I think it's extremely important to learn how to do everything when you first start out. Because let's say you get an employee, how are you gonna know if they're good or bad if you don't know what they're doing?
Yeah.
Like if you don't know it yourself, how are you gonna judge if the quality of work is good or
Yeah.
bad? So I think it's good to start off wearing all the hats and then take them off and give them to other people
Yeah.
after that. But I would definitely say you need to get your hands dirty in the beginning.
Yeah.
I think Jacob, you would know, and
Yeah.
Hannah, you have experience as well.
Yeah.
And it helps when you outsource to people like myself, or like say you're a business owner and you want to get a video team involved to help with marketing, or it gets marketing teams in general.
Yeah.
To where it's like if you have a general concept of what you want and you can be like, hey, this is how we like it shot. This is
Right.
like come with examples.
Yeah.
It makes my job 10 times easier instead of just guessing and being like, okay, this is possibly an angle
Yeah.
that they'll like.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like when I used to shoot some videos for doctors, but it was like on my phone or with my like old ass Canon.
Yeah.
And I was like, why would you invest like $5, $6, $7 grand on equipment when you can just hire a professional
someone
like
who-
Jacob
yeah.
that knows everything about videography to do it for you?
Yeah.
So I think it's a no-brainer
Yeah.
at some point. But I would say when you first start, you got to do everything yourself. And, learn the ins and outs of the business that you're trying to get into.
Yeah. And that just comes, I feel like, with everything growth and what you're doing. At some, we all want that kind of stair step. Like stair step and then relieve some of the pressures you have.
Yeah.
Like instead of doing it all yourself, relieve
Yeah.
that stress. Because that's why those dentists are coming to you. They want to get stress relieved from the marketing side.
Exactly.
So it's all about relieving stress to do a job at a very high level.
Right. Yeah. Most of them just want to pull teeth.
Yeah.
They want to put on braces.
What they love. Yeah. Stick to what they love.
That's what they paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to school for. They don't want to. They don't want to do their own marketing.
Yeah.
So I think looking at it from the outside, my growth might look like it's really fast, but man, it was quite the journey. Because in high school, I was taking like all medical classes, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And whenever first day of school would roll around, people would be like, "Oh, what do you want to do after college?" And I would just be like, "Oh yeah, like maybe something in the medical field, maybe be like a stereotypical doctor, or something like that, But like deep down, I always wanted to have my own business. I just never was like proud enough to say it because I didn't know what kind of business I wanted to have. So I was like, just anything where I can make my own schedule, work, and then make, a decent amount of money. Because I didn't want to wait till like 30 or 32 after I graduate from like medical or dental school or whatever to start making money. So did that, went to KU. Literally the first day I was there, I had this chemistry class, and I was like, hell no, I ain't doing this. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm not doing this for 10 more years. So literally the next day, second day, at like 9 a.m., I walked into the office of the, whatever, and I was like, yeah, I'm switching my major. I'm not doing this. And I talked to my mom about it, and she was like so supportive of me. She was like, yeah, like, I know you so well, and I know you're always born to be a business owner just because of how you interact with people and, how you care about people and relationships and stuff. So she was super supportive of me, and she was like, I know you're going to do good no matter what, so just, take your own path. And for the next 2.5 years after that, like every single month I was trying to, think of a side hustle or something to make money, like drop shipping, Amazon, like wholesaling real estate. I tried a little bit of everything and nothing clicked. And I was like, I need something where I can just, solely rely on just hard work and grit to make it work for me. Because the deadline was getting, close. I was like, if I don't get a job by the time I graduate in 2024, then I'm gonna be a bum. So I had to figure it out. And like when I started, like I said, I was knocking on, going in businesses, putting out brochures. And then over the summer, man, I was waking up at 4 a.m. every single day because I had an internship that I had to do for college. It was at a construction company here, but I was doing office stuff. Waking up at 4 a.m., I would go work out till 6. 6:20, I would get home. At 6:30, I was out the door to go to my internship. From 7 to 4, I was working. 4:30, I would get home. I would go straight downstairs and start cold calling. And nothing even came out of these cold calls. But it was like 2-3 hours a day I was doing it. 9 p.m. I was asleep. So I skipped my meals and just to maybe close like one or two, couple $100 deals. That's how desperate I was to get it done. And then I went back to college in August for my last year. And like Tuesdays and Thursdays, I didn't have that many classes. I would drive from Lawrence to KC, which is like 35, 40 minutes, every Tuesday, Thursday, and just go into dental offices and pitch them my services, and nothing came out of it. You hit the gatekeeper, and they're like, oh, like we're not interested, but like something told me just keep on going, and I hit like rock bottom in October, where I was like, is it even worth it anymore? Because you're trying so hard, and you're not making any money, you're not making any progress, and you kind of start to lose the vision. And that was like my hardest point, was just trying to figure out if I should keep going or not. And my mom was like, just keep going. And if you don't get it figured out by May, then we'll do something else. But in the meantime, you've already done so much. Just keep on going. I listened to her, and that's when things started looking up for me. It was when I stuck to it and didn't give up. And I think that's so important, is that so many people give up before they hit that gold mine of what's going to help them. So one thing is just never give up on what it is that you're trying to achieve in your goals.
Yeah, because you see that a lot with people, like the people who get, reach that success. They always say the same thing. It's like there's that point where they're like, man, should I give up?
Yep.
The people who don't give up, reach it, and the people who do, obviously,
And I was thinking that, I was like, is the universe like trying to test me right now or something? Like I was like, if it is, like, I just want, I want to beat it. I want to
pass this test.
Yeah, I was like, I want to pass this test.
Yeah, it's like keep throwing, like keep doing stuff. Like that's been, I think one thing we could all attest to. Then is just keep pushing. Like, there's no reason to stop. I mean, we're this far in.
Yeah, you're this far. You know, you've already went through the emotions of like,
Yeah.
man, this isn't working. So you've already felt that pain. So why not feel that joy when you accomplish it?
Exactly.
You know, instead of that pain of not even trying anymore, like the regret, I guess you could say.
So I'm going down with the ship.
I'm going down.
That's where we are
I'm going down
now.
hard with. Yeah,
It's
if it goes, I'm going with it.
Yeah. You gotta find another way to get it done one way or another. You gotta pivot. Because like I was not only not making money, I was losing money.
Yeah.
Because I was bringing on clients, you know, like in like May or whatever, these like small time clients I was telling you about, and like they were going out of business and they couldn't afford their rent or you know whatever because they were small ticket and just like mom and pop shops. So like marketing is like the first thing to go. Yeah. And I was just offering them like $200, $300 like subscriptions for software, go high level or whatever. So. You know, I was like, not only am I not making money, I'm literally losing money at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was so disheartening. Yeah. But I had to pivot and figure out a way to make it work, and you know, it paid off for me.
And that's wild. Like you just said it. Like the first thing that always goes is marketing. Like when companies aren't doing well, their first thing that goes like, let's shrink our marketing budget. And I'm like,
that's so backwards to me. And that's been this story from however far back you go. Is the first thing to go is marketing, which in my opinion, that's the first thing you need to pour into because you got to have people, you know, see your business, your company, whatever it is that you're doing so you can get the clients. How do you get the clients if you're not, you know, showing them what you have? So it's kind of backwards to me.
Exactly. And, you know, okay, I get it if you don't want to do paid ads, but you need to go out there and, you know, you got to do something.
Yeah.
If you're the business owner, you can't just give up.
Yeah.
You know, and I see a lot of people, they think that hiring a marketing company or doing paid ads is going to solve all their problems. It's not.
Yeah, people think
you
that
have
all
to
the
do
time.
You have to do the grit. You know, you have to do the hard work to get to where you want to be. You can't rely solely on one method, like Facebook ads, to bring all your business to you.
Yeah, that's one thing that her and I talk about all the time. Is like companies that solely rely on social media marketing aren't like
you're not gonna.
There's no way to win on that.
Yeah, no.
Unless you're like a Fabletics or like other companies
that have like millions to spend a month.
Well, and if you're selling an online product, I totally
then
understand that. It's different. It's a different marketing strategy. But if you're a brick and mortar or if you're, you know, like a dentist office, if you have a physical location or something like that, you have to do multiple ways in the marketing.
Yeah. Word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth,
community events or whatever it is, but go out there and do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like any other business.
Yeah. And that's the thing is people not wanting to spend the money. They
invest in.
Yeah. It's like they don't want to invest in the right spots. Like they'll go out and spend money elsewhere. And not in lanes that it helps. It's just like, ooh, okay. Like I'm glad you tried that, but now let's put the money where it needs to be.
Well, and that makes sense to where you say, you know, the clients you want to work with are the ones who want to invest in themselves, which
they understand the value.
Yeah, they understand the value in what they have and then what you have too.
Because it's all an investment.
Yeah.
You know, they might hear, oh, I'm paying this guy this much a month and paying Facebook ads this much a month, but you're doing that so you make your money 2 or 3 times back.
Yeah.
You're not just pouring money down the drain, and that's what investing is.
Well, that's that old time saying you gotta spend money to make money.
Exactly.
I mean,
most people don't understand that.
Yeah, and that serves true today. You gotta spend that money to make it. So
you deal with a lot. You deal a lot with contract workers. We've seen it like on our space with like the weddings and everything. How do you go about when a contract worker isn't what you thought they were? Like you get a video back and it's not what you thought it would be.
This one hits close to home. Man, I think first thing you got to do is try to work it out with the contract worker right before you go and tell your clients about it, because you don't want to scare them. You want to be professional. So you need to address it with them, right, and then see what they can do to make it right, whether they want to go out and shoot it again or if they want to help you with pricing or cut costs or whatever. I would say the first thing is definitely to go that route. And then if that still doesn't work, then use them again. And you just got to take the L at that point and own up to it and tell your clients, you got to do this, and then just don't charge them for it.
Yeah. Because that's one thing I've seen. Like I said, even within our wedding company, we've dealt with that, where we have people in Ohio that we see their wedding films that they've done, and we're like, wow, these are great. Let's hire them. And then they send the footage, and it's just like...
Not what you were expecting.
And so That's how we've had to deal with it before too. Is just like try to make do with what you have, but also when it comes down to it, it's like it happened.
Yeah.
And if a freelancer is not willing to work with you on something like that, then at that point, you want to work with someone that you like, that's honest and willing to help you out and build a long-term relationship. If they're not, if they're worried about money or whatever it is and not willing to own up to their mistakes, then at that point you just gotta finish that project with them and just don't go back.
Yeah.
And that's like a lot in this industry.
Oh,
like whether it be, I mean, like you said,
I dealt with that a lot.
Are scared of going to marketing companies because they've been scammed before.
Exactly.
And I think that was the hardest thing when I came back to Wichita and I decided like, hey, this is what I want to do is work the corporate world. Because to me, I'm like, oh, it's a wide open lane.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, let's run. And then I'm talking to these people and they're like, oh, we've been scammed or like this person did that. And I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like I have to repair a bunch of bridges before I can even get in these doors.
It's like dating a person with trust issues.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, it's so tough. I didn't expect that at first when I was hearing, but now it's like, it's sad to see how many people are like, oh, I just tried to get rich quick scheme and fucked over all these companies.
Yeah.
So
No, honesty is everything. And man, a lot of my clients, like they'll text me like, oh, like thank you for what you do, and just being honest with everything, because they don't get that with the big companies. And that's my goal is I want to grow, I want to be big, but I want to keep the quality the same regardless. So quality is always going to come first for me and my marketing company. Whether I grow fast or slow, whatever it is, but quality has to be the same, like from the day that I started. So it's all about bringing on the right people that have the same vision as you.
Yeah.
People that are willing to do whatever it takes and row the boats for you, and that's the type of people that you want on your team.
Definitely.
yeah. So is your goal to be like more like national based, or do you want to like niche down to certain cities?
No, anywhere in the U.S. I only work with U.S. for now. Maybe I would look into Canada, but definitely just U.S. And I only work with one dentist per city, just because I don't want to compete with myself. Right?
That makes sense. Yeah.
If I'm doing ads and doing all this for, one client in, let's say, Houston, I don't want to work with another one that's like 5 miles down the road, because then not only does it affect them, then it also affects your results as well.
Yeah.
And then you end up getting dropped by both clients and you lose both of them.
I guess I didn't think about that. Yeah. So if you have.
Well, a lot of companies do work with like anything they can get.
Yeah. Like marketing companies, like, I mean, not to say here in Wichita, but like, I mean, they might work for, 3 different, whatever company it is, and then they're competing with themselves.
And I've had doctors come to me with that issue. They're like, oh, like, we're working with XYZ company, and they're working with like this other guy down the road, this girl down the road, and like everyone's grandma,
it's like,
and I'm just like, yeah, no, I don't do that.
Yeah, how can you get results that way, really?
It's like, rather than just getting one person results, you're like splitting up between all of them, So then it's like subpar results for everyone instead of just good results for one client.
Yeah.
And also it doesn't build loyalty and trust.
That's true.
And just like any relationship, so they're not gonna feel comfortable working with you if they know that you're, sleeping with this other company. So yeah, I think it's important to, like I said, all comes down to trust and relationships at the end of the day.
Yeah. So that makes sense too, because like people talk about when niching down, like use coffee shops. Like they're like niche down, focus on coffee shops, hit all the coffee shops in your area. And so that's what my thing was like, okay, let's go talk to some people.
Yeah.
Were you actually going?
Yeah, I thought about doing coffee shops. And then I
okay.
thought about it. I was like, well, one, like, I thought since coffee shops are always busy that they have, it's a low ticket item, but they're selling it at mass quantity.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, that makes sense. Sit down with another couple coffee shops and I'm talking to them and I'm like, they're like, oh, so are we just going to solely work together? I was like, well, I think I could work with everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking about it in my head, like,
yeah,
I can shoot content for everyone differently.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking about it, I'm like, well, if I help start with their marketing.
Yep. They want you all themselves, Jacob.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And no, I think the way that you're doing it is like really smart.
I mean, content, no, that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But like I'm doing like lead generation.
Yeah.
They're making like, high ticket
Very
sales. So they don't want to share that with another company down the road.
Yeah.
So I think, it's important to be loyal to your customers and make them trust you.
Yeah.
No, that's super smart. So is there any advice that you'd give to anyone that is looking to kind of start their own business or get into like the marketing space?
Yeah, I mean, I would say end of the day, just like I said, build relationships, long-term relationships, work hard. I know it's like stereotypical, but it's true. You know, you have to put in the work, and you have to be willing to make sacrifices. I see too many people that say they want to be successful, but they're not willing to sacrifice going out or sacrifice waking up early or sacrifice getting 4 hours of sleep a night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to be willing to sacrifice if you want to get to where you want to be. And if you're not willing to do it, then you're not going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
The world is not going to, the universe isn't going to reward you for being a half-assed person.
Mm.
You know, so I would say if you want to start a business, it's not easy, but it's extremely rewarding, as you know, you guys would know. So I think that's, you know, comes down to just being an honest, trustworthy, and hardworking person, and the money comes to you naturally.
Sure does. Really does.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said.
Thank you.
That's great. Well, I think we can start to wrap this one. If anyone is looking to work with you,
Yep.
where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can contact me directly via my Instagram at kenny.luu. We're currently in the process of rebranding, so that's why I'm not saying like a company name or a website. But, you know, if a dentist is willing to work with me, contact me directly or just fill out the form that they see on an ad, and I'll get back to them within the day and set up a meeting with them and, you know, go over their marketing, their strategy, and then where we want to take them to and, you know, from where they're currently at.
Love it.
Perfect. Hannah?
Hand got handles.
There you
on
go.
Everything.
Make sure you guys follow the podcast at Commerce Connects, and you can follow me at jclark.jpg. So appreciate you for coming on.
Thank
Kenny.
you guys for having me
Thanks.
on.
Yeah, no problem.